basically when it comes down to it, synergy is about seeing other people's differences and not just accepting them, but fully understanding them.
Right.
And then still accepting them. You know what I mean? And I think that's a powerful thing. That's, again, so hard to do. Like,
right.
it's not in any of our natures.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and I was just thinking, you know, especially kind of a lot now with everything going on in the world right now. Imagine if we came and we looked at each other and we looked at other people's differences and said, as Stephen Covey says in the book, he says, if someone has something, a difference of opinion or ideas or anything like that, I say, good, awesome. Let me hear your ideas. I want to know what differences you have.
Right.
Wow. Could you imagine if we all spoke and thought that, spoke that to one another, and that's how we truly felt.
Right.
And we saw someone with a difference of opinion than us, and we looked at them and we're like, that's awesome that you have a different opinion. Tell me more about that.
Right. And notice how that's different than I absolutely agree with you.
Yeah.
That you and I are on the same page. But really, it's in my opinion, more mature than that to say, I don't agree with you, but I hear what you're saying. I think that's good. Tell me more about that so that maybe I can understand.
Yeah.
Not understand to agree, but understand to understand.
Yeah. And he says, and really it's not even about understanding so that then you can better prove that you're right.
No, that's not the point at all.
And because he says, really the difference of opinion is that people have difference of opinion not because that you're objectively right and you see the world for how it is and the other person doesn't see the world for how it is that we all each have our own lens through which we see and interpret the world.
Right.
So he gives this example in the first chapter, right?
Yeah.
Where there's a picture of a lady. Some people will think that that's an old woman, and other people will think it's a young woman.
And the thing is, you're both right, though.
You're both
when you
right.
look at that, you're both right. And so we don't actually see absolutely no one sees the world for what it is.
Yeah.
We see the world for how we see it, how we perceive it. And that's why you have so many people, again, even today, very heavily today, disagreeing with one another and constantly trying to prove why they're right and you're wrong.
Yeah. And if you don't agree, then there's no space for you.
Right.
And that's a crazy thing, and just think about how much better we could relate to each other and function as a country, as a society, if we looked at someone with a difference of opinion and said, that's awesome, tell me more, and not because you're trying to prove something, but it's because you genuinely you realize that their way of looking at the world and your way of looking at the world are both equally correct.
Right.
And that you can learn something from someone else's point of view, and it may broaden your own.